So here's Kelly with a joke as I bring our guest in.
Oh, okay. I got jokes.
Yeah.
How does a cucumber become a pickle?
How?
It goes through a very jarring experience.
Brr.
All right.
Hey, there he is, Mr.
Hey.
French. Welcome to the show. Hey,
Thanks for having me.
What kind of hat you got there?
I paused my game to be here.
That's great. Normally, he's got this hat here, which is that your favorite?
Oh, I've got a whole room full of them. If you want me to go get some, I can change into the Eeyore hat.
Yeah, well, yeah. We can do costume changes as it goes on, like as if you were Cher. There's many costume changes. Well, hey, thanks for being on. You and I were introduced recently because I got a copyright strike.
Yes, you did.
A few days ago from a video that contained a bit of music. It was a woman who was a composer, and back when our show was like show number 23 or 4, something. It was like 2 years ago. We used a little bit of her music and recently got a copyright strike from that. But luckily, I talked to her. She was very reasonable, and she didn't understand about the whole strike versus warning system, notice versus strike. And so we were able to work it out. Didn't think I was going to be able to stream this week. It literally got cleared up about 5 hours before we went live. So that's part of the reason why we're on the other channels right now. But
yeah, I'm really happy with the way that it worked out for you.
Yeah, me too. Because going through a whole bunch of legal stuff, it's always better to talk to the party. If you have any questions for Leonard, please go ahead and put them in the chat now. Kelly, if you'll keep an eye on what questions we can ask Leonard later from the chat. But I guess let's start with the whole copyright strike thing, because when I spoke to this person, they didn't even realize that having one copyright strike versus a notice would hobble your channel as far as being able to do live streams. And that's very
really
important.
Interesting about it too.
Yeah, and I explained to this person, that's my income. For a lot of people, YouTube is like, hey, let's watch a cat play the piano. But for me, it's how I eat. So when someone gets a copyright claim, does that then turn into a strike eventually, or what is that process? Because I get those notices a lot because I play people's videos and I sometimes don't have time to change the music or whatever from it. And so I'll get a claim that says this is not a strike, this doesn't affect your account status. The copyright holder may be getting income from your channel from this video.
Those are 3 separate things. The copyright takedown is part of copyright law. The monetization claim is part of a YouTube internal policy. And the copyright strike is part of YouTube trying to obey a weird or general requirement that there be a takedown policy, a notice and takedown and disconnect policy for repeat infringers. So YouTube has interpreted the repeat infringer requirements in a way that they put a strike on the channel, and then that means you lose live streaming, and then the second strike means something else, and the third strike means your channel is shut down. But the actual DMCA takedown does not require that. It just requires that there be a repeat infringer policy that is enforced.
Okay, and so when this happened to me, they gave me an option to go to copyright school.
Oh yeah.
And so I passed copyright school, and then got a notice that if I did nothing or couldn't get it retracted, then it would expire in 90 days, but I wouldn't be able to live stream in those 90 days, which makes sense actually, because if you get a copyright strike, if you do something wrong, then your ability to live stream and do that wrong thing again, that's what they're trying to prevent, because a lot of this stuff is they're trying to make it automatic. YouTube doesn't get involved directly. Really, they're not really even an intermediary, right? They just let the parties kind of contact one another, or am I wrong?
You're actually right on. The DMCA it's a legal procedure, and by following the legal procedure, YouTube stays in their safe harbor, and YouTube is not itself guilty of some kind of copyright infringement by hosting the copyright infringing file, since it's a user-generated content situation. So the DMCA takedown procedure is a strict requirement that if YouTube follows it, they stay safe from liability. And so they're supposed to obey a takedown, and then the counter to that is literally called a counter notice, where you can do the basically exact opposite and dispute the DMCA takedown, and then YouTube is supposed to wash its hands of it and send you guys to well, leave you to pursue things in court or work it out amongst yourselves.
Okay, okay. And that's really the way to go. That's the way I went. Luckily, I had a reasonable person and was able to you know, explain to them that I had no malice against her, and we worked it out.
Yeah, that doesn't always happen. I was really happy that that we gave you that option, and you took that option and ran with it and accomplished what you did. So that was really a really good outcome for you.
Yeah. Now, Kelly, are we getting any questions in there? I imagine a lot of people have questions about the use of music, and if your channel isn't monetized, if you're just a hobbyist YouTuber, a lot of people don't seem to care. You know, if they just use copyrighted music because there's really no consequences, I guess, or your feelings about that, Leonard?
So yeah, there's a lot of little acts of copyright infringement that people get away with, but really, technically, any of them could blow up into a full-on copyright claim or copyright takedown, or worse, an actual copyright lawsuit. For example, one of the that I keep finding myself bringing up is the Good Mythical Morning use of a photo of a prison in Norway. They had it on the screen for a few seconds just to show what prison they were talking about, and they ended up getting a copyright lawsuit against them. And so that's something that can happen even with a basic you know, innocent use, or otherwise, you know, subjectively someone believes they're making an innocent use of a copyright, you know, it can still happen.
So fair use is very subjective, is it not? And if you could, you give us a definition of what fair use would be?
Fair use is very difficult. Yeah, I don't know if it's subjective or objective. You have to have a subjective good faith belief that you have a fair use in order to yourself be safe. But fair use is sort of how free speech gets recognized in copyright. If you want to make use of someone else's material without their permission, really the only way to do it is either wait for the copyright to expire, which generally doesn't happen in any one person's lifetime, or you have to make a fair use. And a fair use has to be a use that falls into a balancing test. It has 4 parts, and you have to do this balancing test for every single fair use and make sure you know what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Some recent examples are where someone uses another person's video in part to make criticism or commentary about their video. And a way that this gets misunderstood is, for example, back to the Norway prison photo example, is where Rhett and Link used the photo of the prison in Norway to talk about the prison, not the photo. So the photo and the photographer should have had a license for that photo. And so this gets really, really complicated. How can I use music? Well, not really. If you're using the music as background music to, you know, as a background to your channel or something, that's not a fair use. But if you're talking about the music, like for the Katy Perry case that was recently decided, the Katy Perry case, you talk about the music that you're criticizing or commenting on or making educational use for, in my case, and that is more of a fair use because you're going to use only the portion that you need. You're not doing it for the same market purpose. You're making some kind of transformation to the purpose of the original
work.
So the original work was for entertainment purposes. The secondary work may have been for commentary purposes. That's a transformation.
Right, and that's the word that YouTube uses when it describes what fair use is. If you're using it in a transformative manner, but then it gets down to if it went as far as a courtroom, it would get down to your intent.
Not really.
No?
Copyright is a strict liability offense. Civil copyright is strict liability, meaning whether you wanted to, whether you meant to, whether you intended to, doesn't matter. What the intention will come into is the damages calculation, whether you get small damages or large damages judged against you. But the actual act or claim of copyright infringement is really based on whether you did it or not really what you intended.
Okay.
It's one of very few strict liability offenses.
Are we getting some questions? Because I saw one go by that I think a lot of people have. Hunter WS asks, if I don't put ads and make money and I use an AC/DC song in a video, there's no infraction because I'm not profiting, right?
Not really. Profit does come into one of the fair use factors, but it's the least considered part of the test. So you can make a profit and be making a fair use. You can not be making a profit and still be committing copyright infringement. So that's not really part of copyright infringement itself. The damages calculation will depend on how much of a profit you made, and maybe the intention of the plaintiff. Will a plaintiff pursue an act of copyright infringement if they know they're not getting any money from the person committing the infringement? Yeah, that comes into it in the very loose subjective or like personal decision, like whether or not you sue, but not really into the legal calculation of it.
Right. I think a lot of people think that since their channel isn't monetized, that doing it is fine. But I guess in the eyes of the law, if you're using an AC/DC song in your video, that is benefiting your channel and bringing in more viewers. It's...
Yeah, that can be copyright infringement.
Right. Kelly?
Yeah, how is it determined what's protected by copyright? Obviously music. I mean, could it be a brand? Could it be, my face? How do you decide what is in that envelope of protection?
Copyright protects basically any creative work that is fixed into what we call a tangible medium of expression, which could be writing something down, could be recording it on video, could be recording the audio, taking a photograph. That's all copyrighted. It's all copyrighted automatically. There's a few more steps. And if you don't register your copyright with the Copyright Office for a fee of about $45 to $65, then you lose some rights when the infringement happens. You might not be able to get attorney's fees and costs. You won't be able to go for the higher damages that are set by law. There's statutory damages set by law, which start at $750 a title or infringement, up to $150,000 for the worst kind of willful copyright infringement. So if you don't register the copyright, which the vast majority of people don't register it, then you're only going after actual damages. You're not getting your attorney's fees back. You could easily spend more on your attorney and prosecuting the case than any money you're ever going to get back. So a lot of copyright infringement goes completely unprosecuted simply because it was never anticipated in the beginning. It was, outside of the fortitude of a party that really wants to pursue and, nail somebody to the wall with one of the stricter laws that we have in the U.S. and I guess the world.
Chevy Gun Photography asks, does YouTube offer music when making a video? YouTube does have a music and sound effects library. A lot of people have definite opinions on how good it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of creators, some creators dismiss the importance of music and or sound effects and just, feel as though they can't just have a video without music or something to go with it audio-wise. And that's really not the case. If you're wanting to be a monetized channel and a serious YouTuber, you might want to consider getting a production music library that you pay monthly for. I use Epidemic Sound.
Yeah, same here.
And they license, and it's a wonderful source. It's what I use for all of my videos. Kelly, do we have any questions from? I see a lot of chat going by, but my old eyes, I can't see it that well.
Yeah, well, let me ask one real quick, and then I'll get to a couple in the chat.
Yeah.
Ken and I used to do a morning radio show, and about 4 or 5 years ago, we had an artist from Nashville come in and sing a song in the studio, and it was just tremendous. It was terrific, and I think it's got maybe 250,000 views now. But if you search that artist, by the way, her name is Alexandra Kay, and she sang a version of Jolene. If you search that, you'll find about 5 versions of that. Not only the one we posted on our page, but 4 or 5 versions that were stolen from our page and posted by somebody else on their YouTube channel. How is that legal? Obviously, Ken and I weren't profiting off that post or, that video because it was her song or it was a song. It wasn't hers. But how is that legal? Where you just basically swipe something off somebody else's channel, post it on your channel?
So there's a couple layers to that. First off, I'll forget about the cover of Jolene for a moment because that's
Right.
not her song, right? So
Exactly.
she covered it. There's a whole other copyright issue there.
Yep.
But if the copyright was in the recording, the audio-video recording that you guys did, that's your copyright. You get to issue takedown notices to channels or people who used that without your authorization. Now, they might come back and say, but that wasn't your song. You don't own that copyright. But that's a weird... That's going to be a totally different analysis. How copyright only protects what you have created. So she didn't create Jolene, but she created her cover of Jolene. So
Right.
it does actually protect it. And the separate dispute is whether or not she had the right to sing a cover of Jolene on your show. But that's a whole separate issue. You own the copyright in your recording of that.
Okay.
If you were the one who recorded it.
I guess that's why so many artists do covers.
There's actually also a compulsory right to cover. Original artists cannot stop other artists from creating covers. However, recording a video of a cover synced to the audio also requires a sync license. So there's a separate copyright there that it doesn't have a compulsory right. You don't necessarily have a compulsory right to a video sync on a cover. So that's
Wow.
a whole other analysis as well.
Does the same rules apply to song parody?
Parody is a very specific kind of fair use, but yes, that's a fair use. Parody is automatically a fair use, but getting to parody is not automatic. Your parody needs to be very specifically a commentary or criticism of the original. It can call to mind the original, it can even use the original, but just rewriting lyrics, for example, is not automatically a parody. You must be parodying the original. So if I rewrite a song in order to make it a jingle for my car dealership, that's very likely not a parody. I would need to be rewriting a jingle, somebody's song to make a jingle that makes fun of the original song, mocks it, criticizes it, comments on it, something.
Okay. So the subject can't be the product. The subject has to be the song itself.
Right.
Wow. We done messed up in Radioland, didn't we?
Oh, this happens all the time, though. This is totally normal for these things to get misinterpreted. I've been studying these things for the past 8 years as an attorney, and at least 5 years studying fair use and everything. And it is very complicated, and it's not something that I really expect. Even the law doesn't really expect you to fully understand fair use. It expects you to test for fair use and to form a sincere, good faith belief that you are making a fair use. If you do that, you are as protected as you can be under the law. You might still get a copyright claim, but you won't be liable for a misrepresentation under a specific part of the copyright law. So that's not licensed to go make non-fair uses of things if you just say you have a sincere good faith belief, but rather there is a part of the law, is what I was trying to say, that doesn't think that you're going to know what the right answer is either.
Right. And being in Radioland, we used to have to comply and subscribe to BMI or ASCAP, which are Kelly, can you explain for people what those are?
It's basically a way that songwriters get paid. They get paid from music royalties, and those companies generate those royalties for songwriters, so songwriters can get paid from radio stations playing their songs on the radio.
Right. It's not all just music sales.
Right.
400 AGL with a $5 super chat. Thanks, man. He says, do you have to copyright each video, or can you do channel wide in the case of YouTube?
Oh, that's a good question. I would have to look into the specific requirements. But you can find it yourself. Copyright.gov has a quick PDF of what can be copyrighted and like how you register it. So yes, you can register an album of music, or at least there's a bill in the works right now that will let you register an album of music. You can register a compilation of photographs. But some of the way you register that changes your rights, because remember I said the statutory minimum is $750 per infringement. Is that per song of a group or album that is registered? No, that's for the album, $750 for the album. So it changes the way your damages are calculated. The thing is, every video you make, at the moment that you record it, it has copyright protection Registering the copyright is to get all the copyright protection, to make sure that all of your you have all the legal remedies available to you at law, which is mostly statutory damages and the ability to get your attorney's fees, court costs, and transcript fees back.
We're getting a lot of questions coming in. Look, Kelly, looks like you want to say something. Please make a note of the questions people have, just the ones I can see right now. AV Drummer, is there a way to search to find out if anyone is using your music? I assume you're talking about on YouTube. There is a handy little tool, and I haven't used this a lot, but let me just go ahead and share the screen here. This is, and I'll put a link to this in the description for later, but this is where you can you can do a search on a song and it will tell you if you can use it or not. Now, many of you have seen videos where one car passes another car super fast and they use that MC Hammer, you can't touch this. Well, if you do a search, this song is not available for use in your YouTube videos. If you use this song, your video may be blocked or muted. And there was a channel specifically that had a bunch of these videos made with that song, you can't touch this, and they demonetized basically his whole channel. So this is a great little search tool. Kelly, pick a song, any song, and I'll just do a search.
How about Ice Ice Baby, the classic from Vanilla Ice?
Ice Ice Baby. Come on, YouTubes. Am I using too much bandwidth? Hey, baby. Ice Ice Baby from Vanilla Ice. So you do the drop down window here. This song is not available for use. So this is a quick way to find out if the music you're using is copyrighted. You can also do an unlisted upload if you have clips or something else. If you upload your video and leave it unlisted for a few hours, YouTube will tell you before you post it if it's going to be okay. Any other questions there, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Leonard, that YouTube uses algorithms or software to catch these copyright violations, and sometimes, or maybe a lot of times, they can be wrong. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, that's the content ID system they use to identify content that is in their library as coming from another creator. And each creator, especially the highest level creators, major media companies, large YouTube channels, I'm guessing like 1 million or more subscribers, have access to a special content ID system that allows them to set rules automatically. What do you do when you find a matching content ID claim? Sometimes they can automatically monetize, sometimes they can automatically DMCA takedown. Other times they just list in a list that then is notified to someone who can decide what to do, and that's how we end up with a bunch of manual claims sometimes. And even creators at our level, with the 100,000 subscriber or more level, I think, get access to a basic content ID system, which gives you a list of matches and then lets you not automatically do anything, but at least lets you know that there's a match, and then you can go on to do something about that if you want.
Right. Yeah, I've used that a few times where you can see who is using a portion of your video. Usually it's a bunch of Russians. I mean, sorry if you're watching from Russia, we love you and everything, but I've had lots of videos just sucked down and put as they were on a Russian website, a version of YouTube, and I'm not getting credit for those views. So that brings me to another question, and there's many more questions in the chat. Why does copyright law differ so drastically from country to country, and how does YouTube deal with that? Is YouTube, as they're an American company, I assume, right?
Yeah, YouTube is mostly dealing with American copyright law. The only time YouTube has to deal with foreign copyright law outside the US is when they're licensing something to put on YouTube on behalf of YouTube, the company. So, YouTube also allows you to purchase videos and movies and shows and things like that. So that's licensed content. And then they have some kind of legal compliance with each country when you're showing something on YouTube. Certain channels can specify what countries are allowed to watch that content and what countries are not. That's about it. Otherwise, YouTube is dealing with American copyright law, and therefore the world that wants to deal with YouTube has to learn American copyright law.
Okay, because I do know in the UK, television shows are allowed to use, like pop music and stuff in their television shows a lot easier than it is for us, it seems.
Okay.
Anyway. That's the way it seems to me.
I'm not so familiar with UK copyright laws, so I'll leave it to you on that one.
So what's the best way to get permission to use a song? If I've got a specific song I want to use in my video and I'm going to stop at nothing to use that song, how do I get permission?
Two major ways. One, you can literally reach out to the creator or artist if they are a person that is reachable. The larger the organization, the more likely they will use an agent or licensing organization. The second way is then to use the agent or licensing organization. Harry Fox Agency is one. You already talked about ASCAP. So, and some of them have blanket licensing terms. You can make sure that you have a contract and you understand your contract with that agency. Then you go and play the music that you need, and then you remit your report and payment for your number of viewers or something. But you have to work that all out in advance. If you just go use ASCAP music or mainstream music, you're going to be taken down or subject to that YouTube policy page that you just saw there, Ken.
Okay.
With Ice Ice Baby and all that.
Okay, here's a question from Try Pro. Sorry, man. A question: and I get this a lot. I get this question a lot, and I never know how to answer. If a channel is not monetized, is it okay to use the music if you give credit to them at the end of the video? I don't think you can. It
doesn't change the analysis at all.
Right.
Monetized or not monetized, it's whether or not they have a copyright, and whether or not they enforce that copyright. So the first question is a legal question. The second question is a practical question. If they have a copyright, is going to be a basic question of who owns the protected material, who is the creator, did they fix it in a tangible medium expression, then they have a copyright. Is it an original work? In other words, you can't copyright facts. So if I write down some math equations, or if I write down some telephone numbers from the phone book, or if I'm just talking about the facts about a news report, none of that's copyrightable. But then if someone has a copyright, whether or not they'll enforce it against you is another question. Very, very few small creators are going to really heavily enforce their copyrights unless they see that you are a large organization making a large profit from it. I have a video or two that have gone viral. Unfortunately, they're not my law videos. They're more like things that have happened to me. Like I got pulled over by a fake cop car last year.
Oh, wow.
So when I find that video on various websites like World Star Hip Hop, then I go after them for a license. And I think we have gotten licensed for most of the uses of that video. And so that's been a couple $1,000s now for a viral video because we chose to pursue the licensing.
Uncivil Law with a $5 super chat. Thanks, man. YouTube lawyers unite. I do not accept this offer to contract. I do not consent to these proceedings. Love you, Leonard. You got a fan out there.
It's a quote that R. Kelly put in a response in his lawsuit last year against somebody sued him, and he said, "I don't consent to this offer to contract."
Okay, and
I do not
Larry
consent to these proceedings.
Larry Villa with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Also, if you shorten a song from an artist, are you breaking any copyright laws? Well, I guess that gets down into the sampling.
You're
question.
starting to get closer to a fair use, but how you did it and whether you made a transformative use is different. If you just shortened it because you're going to use it as background music and you only need a few seconds or 30 seconds or whatever, that's still copyright infringement. But you have to know and understand the point of fair use. You're making some kind of criticism or commentary on the music. So if you shorten it in order to show it to someone and say, look, this is what Katy Perry did. She used a descending minor ostinato here, and the other artist used the descending minor ostinato, but it ended on a different note, and the portamento was different. If you're talking about the music, that's much more of a fair use. Still, that's not like, it's not individual legal advice. You need to do this kind of analysis for each and every use, and I don't have nearly enough information about what you mean by shorten the thing and put it on. So I can't tell whether you're just shortening it with nothing more. That's probably copyright infringement. But if you're shortening it and making other steps towards fair use, then that's very likely a fair use.
Okay, Kelly, we got any questions backed up in the chat for everybody?
Yeah, I guess the most important question. That sewing machine there in the background, is that used to make lawsuits?
Hey, that's a good one. And speaking of your background, it looks like you have a drone back there. Do you have a drone back there?
I do. I have a drone back here.
Okay.
I have Arducopter. Hang on.
Yeah, get that thing. Let's see what kind of drone you got.
This is my 550 Arducopter.
And it's protected against the viruses.
It's wearing a COVID-19 mask. So.
Okay, good.
It's also a little dusty because it hasn't flown for a while, so you'll have to apologize for that.
And that's an FPV drone?
It was supposed to be an FPV drone. It turns out I get motion sick from FPV, so I don't do it.
And you found out mid-flight, did you?
No, I found out from VR mostly.
Okay.
Before I really got to. So I had some other issues. I'm looking at the wrong camera. When I built this drone, I never took the metal prop rings from out the inside of the props, and the props actually they would spin when the motors would spin up, the props would slip. And so I actually crashed this thing about half a dozen times before I figured that out. And that was among the last times I flew the thing because I got busy with this channel and really haven't been flying that drone too much since then, although I do now have a DJI Mavic Pro, the original.
Cool.
That I fly more.
And by the way, this is Leonard French. I don't have a fancy graphic with your name, but Leonard French from Lawful Masses with Leonard French. It's his YouTube channel. You should check it out. There's a link in the description. I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to his channel. And let's take this time. I hope we're still having fun. People seem to have great questions and are enjoying the information. Let's take a moment to do a quick costume change and switch hats.
Oh.
All right, stand by for hat change.
Yes.
How about a deer stalker?
Oh, that's awesome. How many hats you got on standby?
Oh, I got to grab some from another room if we need to do more quick changes.
All right, that's awesome. So
you get to give me like 20 seconds.
David Cassidy, thanks, man, for the $10 super chat. This is great information. Keep doing what you do. Kelly, have you seen any other? I see from Grooms Lake Fisherman. What about mixing music like how a DJ would, along with some of their own beat and sound effects music?
Oh, that's one of my favorite questions.
Yeah.
This is a really contemporary topic of law because this hasn't really been tested that often. But when I went to law school, there was Greg Gillis and Girl Talk, who would take samples and make entirely new pieces of music out of those samples. And these kinds of cases went to court, and it's very much on the line. Is that a fair use? Is it per se copying? Because each individual sample is a per se copyright infringement. Per se meaning automatic copyright infringement. You use a little portion of somebody's music, but you're making a direct copy of it. That's supposed to be an automatic copyright infringement. But then you're using only a small portion, but you're using the portion that is the most important, the heart of the copyrighted work, the hook, or the that beat from that song that everybody will immediately recognize that song because they know that beat, or they know that drop, or they know that bass line or something.
For instance, Bittersweet Symphony sampled the Rolling Stones. Kelly, you're familiar with this one. And that was a whole big kerfuffle. You're familiar with that. And all the time it seems like, didn't Led Zeppelin get accused of stealing Stairway to Heaven?
Stairway, yes, and that was recently resolved as well. Though that was resolved on a very interesting grounds. The original song, I forget the original. Taurus wrote.
Yeah, it was.
I forget it.
I remember hearing it, and it was a. Remember, Kelly? We did that one day on the radio. I was like, "Oh my God, they stole Stairway." Yeah.
And the thing is they didn't bring that case for some 30 or 40 years after the situation was a live copyright infringement, but they brought it now. And because of the copyright laws changing in 1978, I think it was 76, Taurus by Spirit or Spirit by Taurus, I forget which one it was only the copyright was only the sheet music. So the jury was not supposed to get a chance to hear the music and compare them side by side. It was rather the sheet music infringing. And that was the sheet music was literally 8 bars of handwritten music. That was what the dispute ended up being because of the way the law worked out. The previous Copyright Act did not have a sound recording protection for music.
Cool. Kelly?
The most popular question in the chat is about a contest we do on this show called 1 Second Song. And I don't think Ken's ever gotten any kind of copyright strike, or you've never gotten in trouble for it.
Let me explain. And
I think that's a fair use. But go ahead.
Leonard, do you have time to stick around?
I have a little time to stick around. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably about another 50 minutes or so.
Okay. Do you want to play a game? Do you want to pit? Are you good at guessing? Do you want to play 1 second song against Kelly?
Me, I'm no good with that. Believe it or not, I'm no musicologist.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
All right.
It would be very disappointing. I'd be happy to try, but I'd be very disappointed.
Well, let's try. All right, and
Okay.
we'll pit you against Kelly against the chat. Okay, so right now, pick me, and we're gonna pick.
Embarrassing.
We're gonna pick a winner. Now, don't say their name out loud. We're gonna keep their names to ourselves until the end.
So
I gotta
pick
write
one
this down.
contestant for me and one for Leonard.
Yes. So if Kelly
Okay.
wins, one person gets it. If Leonard wins, another person gets it. And
Okay, so I've got to write somebody's name down.
I'll get it.
yeah,
Okay.
Kelly's got it.
Okay, he's got it. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
and Kelly's the official scorekeeper too, and he never cheats, right?
Never.
Right. So this is the prize. This is the Skyview Pro drone. It's pretty cool. It's large, perfect for kids to fly around the house and alleviate boredom. So, do we have? And I'll keep an eye on the chat for the answers.
Contestants are locked in. Would you like to see them, or are we going to reveal them at the end?
We'll reveal them at the end. But now the introduction song.
It's a song, it's a song, it's a 1 second song. So it's way too short for you to try to sing along. It's a song, it's a song, it's a 1 second song. Take a guess and see if you're right or wrong. It's a song, it's a song, it's a 1 second song. You can win a prize made in Hong Kong.
Okay, so if you're new
That's
to
a
the
really good ditty.
well, thanks. If you're new to the channel, to the stream, and you're wondering what we're doing, basically this is my way to get around YouTube copyright stuff by playing 1 second's not gonna right. I can play
Well,
1 second
They
or
did
something.
say 5 seconds is now legal on YouTube. You could still get a DMCA takedown, but you can't get a monetization claim.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It
That's
still could be copyright infringement, if depending upon how you use it. I think this is going to be a fair use because it's just 1 second and you're doing it for a different purpose than I don't know.
yes.
Don't hold me to it.
I'm
This is
gonna
not
hold
legal
you to it. You're held to it, sir. All right. So use your name as your buzzer, and so again, and if the chat wins, I'll pick somebody in the chat to win the prize. Okay.
Okay.
Geeks Vana with a 5-pounder. Thanks, man. Can we have a shout out for the awesome folks in the Side B chat? Whoop. Yes, I'm not monitoring the Side B right now, but thanks to everybody. How many people we got in there, Geeks Vana? I'm thinking maybe double digits if we're lucky. Side B is my second channel that has a lot of prank calls and radio stuff. It's a whole bunch of comedy. You want to check that out. All right, Side B. All right, so here is the first 1 second song. Now, Kelly, your era is the 80s.
Yes.
So all of these songs are
Yes.
80s rock songs. Leonard Kelly knows every single skinny tie, wacky Euro 80s band. So,
Good.
all right,
Good.
here,
That he can do all the work.
yeah. Use your name as your buzzer. Here's the first one. I think the chat's gonna get you on this. One more time, 1 second song. Kelly, you got anything?
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Leonard? Okay. Let's see who got it in the chat. They got the. I think
That's cyanide.
Lon Dirty. I think I'll go back later but it is Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, and this is the part of the song where they list 5 ways of doing the dirty deeds. First person to list all 5 of the dirty deeds in the AC/DC song will win a set of eyeballs. I don't know if you know this, Leonard, but I have these eyeballs on offer that you put on your drone, and then birds won't hit your drone.
Oh, cool.
It's
That's an
cool
interesting idea.
and practical.
That works for people too.
Yes, but people will stay away from your drone.
Well, no, if you put an extra set of eyeballs on your head, your forehead, people
Oh,
stay
that's-
away from you too.
Yeah, that's right. All right, here's the next 1 second song.
Kelly,
Yes, Kelly. Ah.
I got
Leonard-
a photograph.
Leonard, chance to steal. Chance to steal. He helped you out there.
I have absolutely no idea.
He just said it.
Wait a minute, if I said it, I get it.
That was
Yeah.
past the time. That's a point for Leonard. It was photographed.
Okay. Automatically get a point here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Photographed by Def Leppard.
My dog is not happy with this ruling. I gotta let him out of the room.
Everybody in the chat got it. Yes, Ten Toes.
it's cute.
Yeah. Now you have a couple dogs too. In fact, you have dogs in your channel logo. What are the names of your dogs, and are they handy?
I have a German Shepherd named Ilsa and a Golden Retriever named Nico, and they are not handy. Since I've been spending more time with my fiance in Europe, my dogs have been staying with my parents. They got used to staying with my parents, and now they're basically my parents' dogs.
Aw.
So, no, it's fine. My parents are retired. They just recently retired, and they need something to help them keep active. And the dogs get a bigger backyard and a cleaner house and 2 people to hang out with.
But
And
you're
it's funny because when I go to take them with me, Nico wants to go with me, the Golden Retriever, but Ilsa will walk out to the far side of the yard and lay down and make it really obvious that she doesn't want to leave.
Aw. Dogs are so transparent.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, I wouldn't want to either. It's a much nicer property, and they get a lot more attention.
Do you ever call your parents up and say, "Let me talk to my dogs," and they put them on the phone, and you say, "Hello"?
Basically, yeah, we've done video chat like that, and even speakerphone. They'll describe like, "Oh, your boy ran over, and he's looking at the phone, and he's wagging his tail."
Yeah, my mom does that on video chat too. But I digress. On with the game. Here's the next 1-second song.
Kelly,
Yes, Kelly.
Asia, heat of the moment.
Oh, you're ready for rock and roll Jeopardy. Leonard, did you recognize that one?
Not at all.
Oh my! How old
I'll
of a
tell you all afterwards why.
fella are you?
I'm 40.
A 40.
So
Okay. So,
I grew up during the 80s, but I was raised in a Christian household, and we didn't really listen to too much of the rock because that's what the bad kids listen to.
oh right, yeah. Well, this is all devil music. So
I really enjoy all that stuff now, but I don't have like a knowledge base
Right.
for it.
Well, the chat's doing really well, and here's the next 1-second song.
Kelly,
Yes, Kelly.
rock and roll by Joan Jett.
Oh man!
You're on the ball.
Wow. You walk over, but you limp back, Leonard. All right. It's really unfair to play against a radio guy, even if it's out of his wheelhouse.
Oh, I'll be a good sport though, I promise.
All right, cool. Here is the next one.
Smell of wine.
Kelly,
Yes, Kelly.
Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that one. I was getting there. I was getting there. You just faster than me.
It's amazing how the brain will stitch the rest of the song together. You just need a little seed.
Yes.
So now I'm going to delve into something I don't know if Kelly's ever even heard, but we got some rock and rollers out there that are going to appreciate this. Here we go. Yeah. Mike Roche knows this one, don't you, Mike? Come on, chat. Anybody? You guys are... Huh?
There you go. Yeah, play the cricket sound.
Yes, Matt Johnson. It's Maiden, man. Maiden.
There you go.
Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden.
All right. We did a copyright story on them with the video game Ion Maiden, which had to change its name.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah. I guess they would, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Iron Maiden is quite a famous trademark, so trying to capitalize on that with Ion Maiden.
And
Didn't work.
they're still alive and touring, aren't they? Or are they?
They're alive enough to file a trademark law.
Yeah. Right. This next one is from a band that was widely sampled.
Kelly,
Yes.
Queen, Another One Bites the Dust.
Yes.
Nice.
So far, Leonard, would you
I
say
knew the title. I knew the title on that one.
would you say that this game is safe?
Yeah, so far, I mean, it sounds like it's safe, but Let me qualify safe here, though.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could try to make a point out of you're using music for the purpose of the music.
Right.
You know, you're not commenting on the music. You're trying to use it to make a game. So, you know, if it was a photograph or if it was a longer amount of music, yeah. At the same time, fair use requires you to be using it for a market usurping purpose. So you have to be overlapping the market and not transforming. And I think you're transforming here in that you're doing this as a event on a radio show or YouTube show, as opposed to using it to play music for someone.
Okay.
Part of the market usurpation purpose is, or fair use is, do I have to go and listen to the song now? Because I listened to one second of Another One Bites the Dust, can I now not go listen to Another One Bites the Dust because I've already heard it? No. Obviously, it's you're recalling it, but you're not performing it beyond that one. I think it's a minimal copyright infringement if it is, or it's a thin fair use if it's a fair use.
So
but I think you're right on the line there, and that's where some of these copyright disputes get really interesting.
So if some TV exec is watching and would think, man, this would make a great game, we should pick that up. 1 second song with this fly on network television.
Oh, well, I mean, do you have a copyright then on the 1 second song concept? Probably not.
Well, not the concept, but the game itself with these snippets. 1 second, would that be covered under the TV's version of ASCAP or whatever it is? Or do they have that?
What do you mean? Do you owe a license fee for all those 1 second songs? I don't think so.
Okay, but like a television station could do this without,
I'd want to research it a lot more before I gave a real good answer. But it does sound like it's right on the line there, where it would need to be analyzed a little bit more in depth before I'd be comfortable advising a full television station with a big audience and a big budget that somebody could sue over. Yeah.
Right. Kelly?
There's a game show I saw last week. I think it's called Beat Shazam or something Shazam, hosted by Jamie Foxx, that is so similar to 1 second song. It's eerie.
Oh, really? Yeah. Do we have a case, Leonard?
No, well, that brings up something. You know, the copyright doesn't protect the concepts; it protects the expression. So you can make your version of that game, and somebody else can make their version of that game, and even two companies can make basically the same game out of something, as long as they're doing it with their own creative expression instead of copying each other.
So I can make a board game about prisoners buying up real estate and call it Conopoly.
Well, maybe not calling it Monopoly, but you're on the right track there. You can make a Monopoly style board game as long as you make your own artwork and come up with your own expressions of the game mechanic ideas.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do a few more here. Here is the next 1 second. Are we still having fun? Let me know in the chat. Are we still having fun?
I'm not having fun.
I see the word Disney in there, and you know that Disney is a very litigious company, very protective of all their stuff. They've sued like kindergartens for using a goofy like character. So yeah, don't mess with Disney.
They recently went after a parent-teacher association that played movies while their kids were being watched during parent-teacher meetings and events.
Oh yes, that's right. Freaking
they got
Disney.
$250 from that parent-teachers association.
Good for them. They needed it.
And they want $250 for each showing. So,
Wow.
It's not just a blanket license.
All right, here's the next 1 second song.
Kelly.
Yes, Kelly.
Toto, Africa.
Wow.
That's my wife.
Hey, wife.
Hey, Kelly's wife. No, it's not his daughter. Hey, she doesn't look 40, but she is.
Oh,
snap! Look what I did.
You don't look 40, but you are.
Look what I did.
27.
27. You're very pretty. Okay, bye-bye now. All right. All right. I'm going to play. And Leonard, I apologize in advance. Kelly will get this. I'm going to play half a second. Now, Kelly, I want you to count to 10 and give the chat and Leonard a chance. So count to 10 with your fingers before you make a guess. I'm going to... Okay? Watch his face when I play this. He will know it right away. Here it is again. Half a second.
I don't need you to play any more of it. I'm still not going to be able to figure it out based on.
Do you know it? Do you know it?
Somebody in the
Anybody?
chat already
Yes,
got
they
it.
got it. They got it. Chat wins on that one. And if you need a little bit more, a full second would be. Yeah.
There you
so
go.
That's it. That's the one. All right. How many more you want to do? I got a few more. Are we okay? All right, we'll do this one. What's the score? Chat. Oh, okay. So Kelly's
My
winning.
one consolation point.
Yeah, it's a consolation point. Well, you're our guest. It's a decent thing to do.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Here's the next.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. We're throwing you a bone. Here's the next 1 second song.
Kelly,
Oh God. Yes, Kelly.
Need You Tonight by NXS.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Here is the last one. What is you're crushing it, right, Kelly?
Yeah, 6-3 to 1.
All right. On this one, I need you to count to 15 before you make a guess.
15. Wow.
Yeah, 15. Use 2 hands and a foot. Here we go. 1 second song. Again. Come on, chat. Come on. No, the name of the song isn't Kelly's Wife is a Fox.
Kelly,
Yes, Kelly.
the chat beat me.
Did it? Oh. Nice. Yes, that's Don Henley, The Boys of Summer. And what is the final score? Who wins?
Kelly
wait.
6, chat 4, Leonard 1.
All right. So who won? Who won the
Use golf
Who won the
balls.
drone?
Kelly was playing for Carl's Corner. Leonard was playing for Gary Greeley. Carl's Corner
Sorry,
wins the
Gary.
throne.
Hey! All right. Now, I'm a little daffy, so I won't remember. So make sure you email me and remind me what you won. KenHeronUpload@gmail.com. I have another question for you, Leonard. You still got a minute or two?
Yeah, we're still good.
Okay. But so the thing that I do at the end of these things is just because I'm just playing 1 second, and just to give everybody kind of a release to play an entire song, I sing at the end.
Oh.
This would be parody, and so I'm going to sing a song that's a parody. Check 1, check 2, check 2, check 2 of The Boys of Summer. Don Henley, way out of my range. If you cringe when I do this, go ahead and mute for just about a minute. Yeah. That's right. Nobody on the road, nobody on the beach. There's germs in the air, a cure is out of reach. Empty lake, empty streets, the sun goes down alone. Snuck over to your house, 'cause I know that you're home. I can see you, your pale skin needs a little sun. You got your toilet paper stack and your respirator on, baby. I can tell you my love for you will still be strong after the COVID-19 has gone. Yeah.
Nice.
And so do I have a legal leg to stand on for that?
I could argue it for you, sure.
Okay, so that was a karaoke track that I did pay for.
Okay, good.
So that cool? We good with that? Okay. So I do.
I was worried.
Is there any other questions from the chat that we didn't get to, Kelly?
I think most of them are about my wife, so no, they're all not.
All right. So I do have a question, and this is something that anyone who's had a viral video will be familiar with, and that is predatory video distribution companies like Viral Hog. Have you had to deal with any of that stuff?
Oh, you're going to hate me. I have 2 of my viral videos with Viral Hog, and I'm on the fence as to whether I would actually recommend them or not, but they have done their job. for the most part. I occasionally have to email them and almost literally legally yell at them,
Oh.
you know, hey, you haven't collected revenue from these people for a long time, you know, get on that or else.
So how does
But-
that work? If you have a viral video and you give it to Viral Hog, then they distribute it and then give you the money, or they go after the people that are trying to use
Yeah,
it?
they both distribute it, but I mostly did it to go after the people that were infringing. One of them was when someone actually attacked me, did not like in the severe physical injury sense, but more like the Karen sense, I guess we would call it today. And so I have a Karen video, we'll put it that way. And I was riding my bicycle, and it's an electric bicycle, and she did not like the fact that I had an electric bicycle on the bike path, and so Karen attacked me. And so I gave that one to Viral Hog so I wouldn't have to deal with it, because I just didn't really care about that video other than, you know, making whatever best of the situation I could. And the other one was the fake cop video, which went viral, and so many places, so many people were making copyright infringements of it that I just found it would be distracting from my actual law practice and job and channel and all that for me to pursue all of that. So I gave it to Viral Hog so that they could pursue it. And for the most part, that's worked out. Maybe I could have done better if I hadn't given it to Viral Hog, but I did okay. A couple $1,000s total for the two videos over the course of the last couple years.
Okay, so if I get your permission to play that viral video on this stream, and then Viral Hog says you can't do that unless you have permission.
Yeah, I can no longer give you permission
Oh, you
because as
can't.
part of I licensed it to Viral Hog exclusively, which was a decision that I made knowingly. And so I don't have the right to give you permission.
Okay.
I could certainly put you in touch with Viral Hog, and I'm sure that they would charge a minimal amount of money, but I don't think that I have the right to give permission anymore on those.
Okay, so if I played the video but commented on your hair or the bike.
Comment on the video, yeah. Comment on the contents of the video. Use the minimum amount necessary to make your commentary. Yeah, that sounds much more like a fair use.
Okay, so like Mystery Science Theater, was it 5,000 or whatever? They do that
3,000.
with 3,000. They do
Yeah.
that with movies, and that is fair use.
No.
It's
no,
not.
They actually, so the whole reason MST3K originated was because they wanted to do something with all the extra footage, all these bad movies that KTLA TV had. So they actually used the licensed KTLA TV library, and only later, when the show became popular, did they start using non-KTLA movies and footage, and that still needed to be licensed. They're still showing the whole movie from end to end, and you don't have to watch the movie then when you're done watching the MST3K show on it.
So if you see Mystery Science, and now I'm not a fan, so I don't have the acronym, but Mystery Science Theater, if you see any of that on YouTube, that's a problem then, isn't it?
If someone's doing a Mystery Science Theater 3000 style show where they're showing an entire movie and commenting on it along the way, that's actually probably not a fair use.
Huh.
Is there a way it could be made a fair use? I mean, the law allows for it, but it has to be that the entire movie was necessary in order to make the fair use and make the commentary, make the criticism point. I don't really see how that's going to be too easy without tremendous planning on someone's part. So I'm going to say automatically not a fair use on that one.
Kelly, any more questions from you?
Jerry Calverley, who just gave a $2 super chat, is the Bird song okay? Every now and then Ken will play The Bird by, I can't remember who does that song. I would say that would be in violation.
The Trash Man. I do, and I've never gotten a notice or anything from it. It's usually kicked off whenever Jeff says the word bird.
Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird.
But
And then we all
there's a
dance and
licensing
everything.
Organization represents that artist. I really don't know my music artist too well, but there's an organization that represents that, and you technically should have a blanket license so that you can play the song whenever you want.
Okay, and thank you, Jimmy J. Kicking it parody style, he says, and Vegas Buck with a 777 super chat for the karaoke fund, and our buddy. Let me get his sound effect ready. Philip. A Cochat. That is his real name. That's how you say it. Just to let you know, Leonard, we had this whole thing where I was making fun of his name, and he doesn't mind because his name implies that you are going to the restroom with a buddy.
Aha.
Yeah, Cochat.
All right.
Great show tonight. Such great content about content. Yes. And again, thank you, Jerry. So thank you for your time tonight. And
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
And I don't think you would mind if I let people know that you and I did a test call, and in that call you confessed to me that you love doing this. You love helping people in YouTube land.
Maybe too big of a heart a little bit sometimes, but I like helping, and so anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Well, it is very much appreciated. Thank you so much for the information. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So are you.
All right. Oh, thanks, man. Do you have one more hat before we go?
I don't. I only
No.
have the original hat. So
Okay.
You know,
Well, again,
so that I'm not bald. I don't wear the hats for being bald.
you're not
That's about the only thing
balding.
I can do here.
You're not balding, are you?
No, I mean, look, a receding hairline. As I get
No,
older,
man.
but,
You,
know.
that's hair. That's there forever. Kelly, let's see your head. Kelly, let's see your head there, buddy. Woo! That's good stuff. Awesome. Well, thanks, man, for being on with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your
Thanks for
time,
having
sir. Again, this is Leonard French from Lawful Masses with Leonard French. That's his channel. Please check him out. There's a link in the description. Parade wave. See you, man.
See ya.
All right.
Have a good one.
Well, how about that guy?
He's awesome. He needs to be on the show every week. Quite possibly one of the best guests you've ever had on the show.
Yeah, so much information. So I apologize. We got going a little bit long there, and I have a bunch of viewer videos right here. Should we get going with one of those?
Let's do it.
All right.
Should we thank a sponsor first?
Nah, to hell with them.
You got that right.
They're watching. Sorry, sponsors.